Hello, Africa. Hello, Nigeria. Hello, the rest of the world. This is your boy, Dr. 96, aka The Realist. As I always reiterate and emphasize at all time, that the best gift you can give to yourself is to be real to yourself. Don't fake life. You can only be the second best if you copy another one. So always make effort to be unique, because you are unique from the onset. It is my mega pleasure and wonderful joy to come on here again, once again, to discuss about our lovely and dear country, Nigeria. Because Nigeria is the powerhouse of Africa. When Nigeria gets things right, the rest of Africa will get things right. When Nigeria is free, the rest of Africa is free. This morning, it might be afternoon, it might be night, wherever you are across the world. But today, I just want to give a brief reflection on the situation of things in Nigeria generally. That is, this morning, I want to talk about the disappearance of Chinese doctors in Nigeria. Also, I would like to touch about the infiltration of the Almajiri from the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country. And I will briefly touch on the position of NCDC, that is Nigeria Center for Disease Control, their false accounts of COVID-19 situation in Nigeria. But before I start, as I said, first on my priority list this morning is about the disappearance of the doctor, the Chinese doctor in Nigeria. I think recently the Minister of Health came out publicly to announce that they don't know about the whereabouts of Chinese doctors who came to Nigeria to assist our local doctors. I think this is completely absurd. This is completely annoying, because the Chinese doctors, they don't just come to Nigeria. Even before their presence in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians expressed their dissatisfaction, but Nigerian government adamantly went ahead to invite the Chinese doctor, and now they are now saying that they don't know about their whereabouts. First and foremost, let us ask ourselves some basic questions. Who invite the Chinese doctors? Who invite the Chinese doctors? At least before a foreigner can visit a country, there must be some invitation, either by the government or by the private agencies. Then who invite the Chinese doctors should be accountable for their whereabouts. Is it the government that invite the Chinese doctor? We want to know. This is supposed to be a democracy, and a democracy should be government of the people, made by the people and for the people. And in every democratic setting, there should be accountability. There should be honest and transparent report of situation, of events. So we want to know, as Nigerians, who invite the Chinese doctors. Because somebody cannot just come into your country without a process. Every country of the world has an immigration process. When the Chinese doctors, when they arrived in Nigeria, during the process of immigration clearance, what address do they give? So this is a for thought. And I want our government to really play a very reasonable part by telling Nigerians the truth about the Chinese doctors. And secondly, we were meant to know that the Chinese doctors, they are coming to teach our local doctors some expertise on how to take care of COVID-19, for the fact that COVID-19 started from Wuhan, and it is expected of those doctors who have been able to take care of the situation in Wuhan to have some expertise that they can share with our local doctors in order to boost efficiency on how to take care of COVID-19. Now, what is the role of the Minister of Health in inviting the Chinese doctor? Because we also, when they came into the country, our Minister of Health went to welcome them in the airport. He received them. For you to have received people and you are now saying you don't know anything about their whereabouts, I think that does not really make any sense. It's like playing on Nigerians' intelligence. And these people are doing this because Nigerians don't ask questions. The well-meaning Nigerians who should have been a mouthpiece for the vulnerable ones, they are too scared. They are afraid to ask reasonable and simple questions. Minister of Health, you received these people. You received the Chinese doctors, and you are now saying that you don't know anything about their whereabouts. How do they disappear? We were meant to understand that the Chinese doctors will be quarantined for 14 days. Which of the quarantine units in Nigeria host the Chinese doctors? This is a question we should ask. So if we know the quarantine units that absorbed the Chinese doctor when they came into the country for quarantine process, then we can start tracing their whereabouts. So Nigerian government should tell Nigerians the quarantine unit that absorbed the Chinese doctor when they came into the country. And this is the obligatory duty of our Minister of Health to inform Nigerians the quarantine units that host the Chinese doctors. How do they disappear from the quarantine units? Were they quarantined or not? If they were quarantined, which quarantine units? Then how do they get out of the quarantine place at the end of their quarantine process? If they disappeared without traces, that means they left or absconded from the quarantine unit without due process. And if that is the case, we should ask our question. We should ask ourselves a reasonable question. Does it mean that the quarantine unit where the Chinese doctors were quarantined, does it mean that the quarantine unit does not have security personnel put in place to checkmate the movement of people? Nigerians, government, Nigerian leaders, it is high time that we are sincere with our people. It is high time that we govern the country with some level of sincerity and some level of respect and dignity to Nigerians. We can't continue to treat Nigerians as if they are animals. We can't continue to treat Nigerians as if they don't have brains or as if they don't think. Please, let us demand as Nigerians collectively for answers to some of these questions which I have raised in this video. The first one is, who invites the Chinese doctors into the country? On whose invitation do they arrive in the country? Then, what is the role of the Minister of Health in their invitation? Because he welcomed them, he received them from the airport. Where were the Chinese doctors quarantined? How did they disappear? Does the quarantine unit have security in place to secure the quarantine environment? These are food for thought. These are questions that Nigerian government should provide answers for. Furthermore, we need to really demand for urgent answers to some of questions which I have raised, because I was surprised when the Minister of Health himself was saying that he doesn't know about the whereabouts of the Chinese doctor, and the event starts getting twisted by him saying that the Chinese doctors, they were employees of one company in Nigeria, that they came into the country on invitation of a particular company. So Nigerians want to know the company who invited the Chinese doctor. And secondly, they said, the Minister of Health in particular said, not all the 16 personnel who came in as a doctor were really a medical doctor, that some of them were technicians, some of them were engineers who came into the country for some installation. Is this not crazy? What does the Minister of Health mean by this statement? And to my greatest surprise, as we speak, hitherto, Nigerians remain calm and quiet without asking questions. Who knows if these Chinese doctors were agents to come and aid the spreading of coronavirus in Nigeria? Nobody is asking questions. And we cannot continue to live like this. Nigeria is our dear country. We cannot continue to allow 1%, less than 1% of the population who occupy the position of leadership in Nigeria, to continue to push us around, to continue to feed us with whatever garbage they deem fit. We should not continue like this. We need to stand and rise on our feet to demand accountability from our leaders. And the second issue I want to discuss via this media today is, I want to really emphasize on the false account of COVID-19 cases by NCDC in Nigeria. We've seen a lot of videos circulating social media. We've seen a lot of persons reacting to the false statements being provided by NCDC. So what is the plan of NCDC in withholding information from the masses, from the public? Why is the NCDC not giving Nigerians full accounts, full details about the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria? And secondly, if some people have been treated and recovered from COVID-19 in Nigeria, why is the NCDC not sharing information about the treatment to the public in order to enhance personal prevention. There is a lot of conspiracy theories going on in Nigeria right now. There is a lot of conspiracy about the case of COVID-19. There is a lot of hidden agenda. So my question is this: is NCDC interested in making money out of Nigerians' predicaments? We've seen that it's being done in some countries of the world. The coronavirus victims, they are not aliens. Other countries of the world, they are showing the casualties on the screen. They are showing the condition of victim in quarantine units. Even they are showing people who are in isolating units. They are showing people who are even under a life support machine. Why is everything being secretive in Nigeria and nobody is asking questions? We keep hearing the rising in figures, but there is no physical evidence to justify the data being provided to the public. I think Nigerians, we need to wake up. We need to educate our minds and get out of this slavery situation. We are too intelligent as Nigerians to be enslaved perpetually by our own people. This is a case of black enslaving blacks. This is a case of complete violation of people's rights. When the leaders who are entrusted with public power, when they are not sincere, when they are not transparent, when they are not open to their people that they are leading, then the beauty and the decency of democracy has been defeated. Nigeria is not operating autocracy. Nigeria is not operating secrecy government. In democracy, there's supposed to be open flow of information between the leaders and the masses. There's supposed to be a complete harmony between different tiers of government, the judiciary, the executive, the executives. They are supposed to operate in cordial relationship. As I was saying, the three arms of government, that is the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arms of the government, they are supposed to be operating transparently. They are supposed to be open to the masses. The information from every tier of government should be made public for public assessment. So enough is enough of these secret games about COVID-19. We really want to know the actual situation of COVID-19 in Nigeria. We cannot continue to rely on false data, on false numbers. So in numbers, there should be a logical coherence of numbers with physical evidence. There should be agreement between data and evidence available. They cannot continue to treat us the way they like. They cannot continue to feed us with garbage, with unrelied information with informations that do not have basis, with the information that do not conform with the reality on ground. Nobody will checkmate the government. It is the responsibility of the masses to react in order to checkmate the excess of the government. Moreover, last but not the least, for today, I want to briefly talk about the infiltration of the Almajiris from the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country. Now there is interstate lockdown in Nigeria. Why are the Almajiris from the north infiltrating the south? What is their mission? What is the purpose for the Almajiris moving in exodus to the southern part of the country? And secondly, there are security apparatus, there are security checkpoints all over the country. Why is it possible for the Almajiris to beat all the security posts all the way from the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country? Why is Nigerian government, that is the federal government of Nigeria, is not addressing the loopholes behind the exodus movement of the Almajiris from the northern part of the country to the south? What is their mission? Even the experts are not allowed to cross borders this period in time. The skilled Nigerians are not allowed to even migrate. Then why are Almajiris, who are just beggars without skill, why are they moving from the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country in exodus? So the security agencies in Nigeria, they need to be transparent. They need to be transparent and they need to be called to their weaknesses. The Inspector General of Police, old Nigerian apology. It is easier for Nigerian police, for Nigerian armies and other security agencies to oppress Nigerians in the south, but they cannot checkmate the unwarranted movement of the Almajiri from the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country. I don't want to believe in the conspiracy theory that the so-called Almajiri people are the foot soldiers deliberately sending to the southern part of the country. I have no evidence to back this up. I have no facts to back this up. But in order to prove that school of thoughts wrong, I think Nigerian government should intervene, should intercede at this particular point in time to show that really they are not responsible or they are not indirectly supporting the movement. We all see what is happening in Rivers State just for the fact that hotels break the lockdown rules. Business were being destroyed, people's cars were being impounded. Why are Almajiris not being stopped? Why is it possible for the Almajiris to beat all the security architects in the northern part of the country before they crossed to the southern part of the country? So there's a lot of compromise and this needs to be stopped. If an Almajiri who moved from Adamawa find his way down to Port Harcourt, how does he beat the securities, the borders between those states. Our security agencies, they have been compromised, and we need to restore dignity in our security architecture in order to gain the trust of Nigerians. This is just my contribution today, and I wish Nigerians all the best. And I know collectively, if we keep to the rules by washing our hands, using a face mask, social distancing, and avoiding unnecessary movement, we will all come out victorious after this pandemic, and it shall be one of the past. Only the living will see tomorrow. So we should not say because of hunger that we are going to compromise. It's only the living that face hungry. And may the Lord grant us the grace to come out of this victoriously, collectively. This is your boy, Dr. 96. I'm done for today. It is my pumping pleasure once again to be on here today. Be real to yourself. Be authentic version of yourself. Live and enjoy your life fullest. No one can make you unhappy. No one can make you angry. Happiness, sadness, angry is a question of choice. So make the right choice today and live to enjoy your life to the fullest. Peace out.